Was about his meeting. You can sit down and meeting that who did he meet? Horse Trigger and Laura Rogers. Tell us about that.
Well, we went on a bikers convention in Detroit, Michigan, and I was in the first grade, and we heard he was at the Cadillac Hotel, and then they carried me over there, and they were Dale were in the lobby.
Laura Rogers and Dale.
Dale were in the lobby, and got to meet them in person. They came out to the car to go in the car, and we told them goodbye. And then later on, I got to see him in Madison Square Gardens riding Trigger.
Is that right?
Another Square Garden.
Okay.
Another year or two later, yeah. And that was my story about Laura Rogers. And let's see. When I was growing up, Kate, let's see, that sign says Red Rider. There were the BB guns back when I was coming up. Red Rider was a cowboy, and I liked that sign, so I got that.
Where did you see that movie Red Rider? Was that on the big screen or TV?
It was. They used to have movies on big screen. I don't know if you get videos now or not. I'm not sure. But anyway.
Well, I want to hear about how you went to that cow thing, and there was the group Alabama. You were bidding on the same. Tell about that.
I went to a cow sale in Alma, Georgia, to buy some Limousin cows, and I kept bidding and could never get a bid in. And I heard them say, "This is the what was it? What was the name of the farm? I forget what they called it.
Burford Farm? Or
no, it was Limousin, but they called them the Tennessee River Farm. Tennessee River Farm, and it was turned out it was Teddy Gentry and Randy Owen
of the Alabama
cows. So anyway, at that same sale, I was trying to buy a cow, and there was my brother-in-law sitting next to me, Billy, bidding on the same cow. And I finally punched him. I said, "Now, if you want the cow, just tell me I won't bid anymore." And I thought he was trying to up my bid. Anyway, that was just...
I remember that concert we went to. We saw Alabama and Ozark.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Is that your idea or Regina's idea to get those tickets? How did that come
Both
about?
of us. I'd been going up to those Limousin things and seen them up there. I'd ridden up to Randy Owens' place, and also Teddy Gentry. Saw Teddy's daddy sitting on the porch talking on the phone one day in a rocking chair. And Teddy was big into Limousin. Randy was more into Hereford. But later on, both got in some of it. So there was a big farm up there called Straight Creek Farm. We called these two. We bought some of our first cattle from. Fort Payne, Alabama, where they're from. So.
Tell me a little bit, Dad, about Granddad Major's horses and how he got involved with that and what you remember as a child.
Well, he just always had horses. He had mostly Tennessee walking horses. And I remember he had one named Roan Allen and one named Mary Allen. They all had Allen names.
So how did that happen?
It was a
like spelled my way, that name?
Yeah, it was a registered name.
Okay.
And several Allen horses, Roan Allen, Mary Allen, and so forth. He used to keep one to ride all the time. Then he had horses out of Lake Espy. You could go out there like a wild herd. He'd have a stallion and a lot of mares running together, and raised horses out there.
Well, how would he get them, herd them together and so that when he needed to?
Yeah, he used to have to catch them up and get some of them, break them out there at the farm. You know, but the ones in town were always broken, the ones we had to deal with. We also had mules growing up out there at the farm behind the house in town.
Were those for sale? Uncle Jim was telling me about some stables downtown.
The stables were behind where the Mercantile Company was with the China Garden restaurant, you know. They were right behind there. And I remember we sold those two mules one time. And as a small boy, I was about 8 or 9 years old, and Sam Lyon and I were coming back from the pool. And we went by there, and if somebody tied two mules in a wagon out there, behind the stable, in front, and I had a bag of Cracker Jacks with me. And I told Sam, I said, those are those tame mules that we had up at the house. And he said, no, that's not so. I said, I'll show you. I walk up to him and prove it. Well, I was walking up to the mule. About the time I saw his back leg come up like he was fixing to kick me, and I backed up, and the mule hit me right here. Made a horseshoe print over my heart.
I always thought that was just a tattoo.
Yeah. It took a while for it to go away. But I remember it scabbed up because he had metal shoes on. And I remember I said, I'm going home and tell Mother and Daddy that I fell down on the sidewalk, because otherwise I'll have to go to the hospital. because I thought I had to take a tetanus shot. Well, I needed one. And so anyway, Sam told him the truth, and I wound up going to the hospital to get the tetanus shot. And I got over that, but it took a long time. It stunned me. What I remembered most was I landed right on my butt, sitting up. I didn't smell my Cracker Jacks.
That's great. You got your toy. What was your toy in that box? I bet you remember that.
I don't remember.
Your prize in the box. Well, what about, did you have any responsibilities with the horses growing up? Did Granny Major have you feed them?
Yeah, just go out and feed them and things when I was growing up.
Did he have as many as you have now, or more?
He had more at one time, but in town he only kept 2 or 3. And then we went to Tennessee because Maryland was interested in show horses, and that's where we bought that horse up there. It's called Sensations War Eagle. That's what we named him.
Do you remember how much?
Well, he was a
Major
baby. We rode in the pasture, and we saw him. We picked him out. And there's the prettiest baby, and there was another mare that had a baby, and we bought 2 mares with babies. And he turned out to be the best. Of course, he was always too spirited. Marilyn never ride him.
She never rode him.
But we wound up and had him broke to show. Somebody in Quincy, Florida broke him. He showed in shows in Columbus, Georgia, and Mississippi. Won a lot of prizes. A guy in Selma, Alabama, one of Daddy's old friends.
Someone else showed him.
Yeah, right. A friend of Daddy's in Selma kept him for a while and showed him. And anyway, he was a 5-gated stallion, they called him.
What about, how did you get involved with show steers? Since we're talking about all the livestock and all, you showed
Well,
steers?
just when I was in the 4-H club, I just wanted that as a project and started showing calves. And
did Granddad Major do that when he was a boy too?
No.
Or was it just okay?
The one thing Daddy used to tell me was that, and one reason he always tried to make a point to go to all my ball games was his daddy never would go see him play because they thought he was wasting time playing. His daddy never saw him play ball.
Is that right?
And that always hurt Daddy.
Mm.
So that's one reason he made a special effort when I was growing up playing to go to all my games.
So you did that with us, you know.
Yeah.
He coached too. Did he coach some games too?
No, we didn't have
teams.
The only thing we had back then that we were coaching was Little League baseball. He never coached any of that. They didn't have Little League football and stuff like that.
Tell about when you were at Mars College playing with Marion. You were the tight end, and how Granddad Major didn't go to that game, but you called it.
The game, yeah, it snowed that game, and I was the number 3 end. I played actually right end, back up. But that game, our left end got sick and couldn't play, so Coach Norris said, I'm going to start you at left end. Played offense and defense. I remember calling Dad after the game to tell him, because he missed the game, that he never didn't think I'd play. I was a freshman. And I wound up playing the whole game, offense and defense, in the snow in Mars Hill up in North Carolina.
That's great. So it was cold up there.
Yeah, snowing.
Did you have a game that was your biggest game when you were at Marion?
My biggest game was when we played the Tulane freshman team, and I was the captain of the team my sophomore year there. And anyway, one of the captains, and used to lead them in exercises and all that. But we played Tulane freshman, and in that particular game, I caught 5 passes, including 1 for a touchdown, and we beat them 13-7. And so I was offered a full scholarship to go to Tulane.
Wow.
After I left Marion, but I wanted to go to Auburn. Of course, I was, at the time, was interested in marrying your mother.
That's right.
And so that made the priority, and I forgot about going to Tulane. Just wound up and went to Auburn and finished school and didn't play ball.
Well, what about, I want to know about this Bobby Bowden thing. Back then, he was at Howard College or Sanford, and he wrote maybe a paper out and put his signature on.
He wrote a letter just asking me to come up to visit him, but eventually gave me a scholarship to play at Sanford, or to Howard College at the time. And so I went up there and went into the old Siebert Hall.
Yes.
That's where his office was, upstairs in Siebert Hall. I remember walking in his office and talking with him, and then I decided that I wasn't going to sign. I just wanted to.
And that was going to be instead of Marion or after Marion?
I'm trying to remember if I was still at Marion or I was in high school. He recruited me both times.
Well, you always joked. You said one time he said that you were as fast as a rabbit or something like that, or something you used to always try to say. Was that just a joke, or did he write something down on a piece of paper?
No, that was Daddy. He used to call himself his Flash.
Tell her, how did he get that name?
He said that was his nickname, Flash. And you had a little shirt on one time when Daddy was sick. Had Flash on. He had his picture made with you as a child.
That's right. That's right.
And but that was
That he came to all your games. What about Edith? Did she come to the games?
She would always come. Bill Van would go sometimes with him. He went to Millersville, Georgia one time. We played Georgia Military Academy at Millersville. They had a punter that went to quarterback and punter that played for Tulane.
Is that right? Wow.
Good ball player. We beat them. Matter of fact, I think I got a touchdown over there. It was my freshman year.
That's good. That's good. What about in high school? Did you think of a game that was your best game, and maybe something that involved Uncle Don? He was quarterback.
Yeah, well, we played Abbeville that year in Headland and beat them 32-0 our senior year. And we played Newell in the Lions Bowl, and I caught a touchdown pass against Abbeville and Don, and also against Newell in the Lions Bowl. And in that particular thing, we drew it up in the huddle.
Was that the one where Sam?
No, Sam. That was Don was quarterback. Then Sam was. When I first varsity game I ever played in was when I was in the 9th grade, and we were playing Union Springs, and they had beaten Headland like 70-0 the year before. And that year we were ahead 13-7 in the 4th quarter, and we were driving down near their goal, and it was running out of time, and the coach called me to come in the ball game as a 9th grader. I never played in a game, and it was first game of the year, and went to the huddle, and Sam called a pass play to me, and I was shaking like a leaf. But I remember catching a 13-yard pass from him the very first play. I played varsity ball as a 9th grader at Headland.
And that was very unusual back then, right?
Well, yeah, sure, we didn't throw much.
Did you play that whole year on the varsity team, or part of it?
Yeah, I played, of course, B team ball as well, but I started on the B team, but in varsity ball I was like a backup.
Was football, you were better at football than were basketball? Or?
About the same. I played pretty good in both. I made all conference in both.
What did you tell me about a basketball game you remember?
Well, the biggest game I had as a basketball player was against Slocum one year when I got 22 points. I never was a big scorer. I didn't score.
What did you? Are you shooting? What would be 3-pointers today? Or they just?
What would be 3-pointers today?
So you might have got 30 or 32 points.
Good then. I was an outside shooter.
How far did Headland go in that time? Did they have tournaments?
We usually would go to the tournament, and then we'd have to play either New Brockton or Coffee Springs. That won the state every year, and then they would beat us and knock us out.
They'd always do that.
Yeah.
So.
We never did get far in the state tournament.
Interesting.
But we had some good games. New Brockton had some college players. One of them went to Kentucky my junior year, and they had a guy that went up at Troy named Clark, and his son later played for Auburn. I saw him later on at Auburn and got to visit with him and talk about this game. But he had a broken arm. He was their best player. Had a broken arm, and he guarded our best player, who was Thomas West, and held Thomas to about 10 points that night with one hand.
Is that right?
And he wound up scoring 20-something. It was all band.
That's great.
He was a good ball player.
Did you get any offers maybe for basketball to go on, or maybe football?
Well,
how big were you at that time, senior year? What was
6'2", about 180. Yeah. No, I wasn't big enough. Basketball, I played forward as a senior, but I was more of a guard. I was outside shooter mostly, but enjoyed it. Enjoyed basketball and football an awful lot. Learned a lot. Had a lot of friends. You learn how to play together and do teamwork. That's important throughout life.
That's right. What about, why did you choose to go to Auburn? Granted, Major went to Sanford in Maryland. What was the Auburn connection in our family that may have influenced you then, or was you thinking about agriculture, business?
Well, I just always loved Auburn.
Growing up, you were watching them play?
I remember going to see them play. The first game I ever saw was against Alabama. We beat them 24-0.
Is that right? And what year was that, you think?
It was in 1954 or 5.
And you go with Granddad Major and Edith to that game?
Yeah.
He did all our Auburn games too?
Yeah, we went to that ball game. Well, actually, that game, first game I went to might have been with the Brownings. I remember.
Okay.
I think that game I went with Daddy. Anyway, yeah, we got tickets. Back then, there was no trouble getting tickets to the game. Like sell out.
Do you remember, it seemed like the first game I went to, we went maybe 77, 78. Was it the Auburn, Georgia game when Auburn came out with those orange jerseys or something?
Yeah, William Andrews was the fullback, and then James Brooks and Joe Cribbs were the backs. Charlie Trotman was the quarterback.
And what's Charlie Trotman's, his relationship with the family?
Well, Charlie Trotman's, let's see, his daddy's sister married Sam Carroll in Ozark, who's my daddy's first cousin.
Okay.
She was Elizabeth Trotman.
He was in a bank, wasn't he a bank president, Sam Carroll?
Yes,
like
yeah.
I found a letter from Waddy to him.
He was in the Bank Ozark.
Okay. Was their family, did they own that bank?
They owned it, and then they sold it out to South Trust.
Okay.
Okay. It's just 1 minute left.
1 minute left on the video. So it's good.